we got the cows back home off the corn stalks. We're actually wintering the cows out in the corn stalks here by my parents' place. But now they're out of feed out there, so we're feeding them here, and we're gonna start calving. January 23rd is when they start. So we want to start getting some good feed into them here. This is corn silage here. This is what we chop. It's chopped up the whole corn plant. You can see the corn in there, the corn kernels in there. This is what we feed them, along with a few other things. But when we chop this corn, it's usually end of August, the first part of September. You remember how we combined it? It was all dried down, it was brown. When we chop this is still pretty green yet with a little, it's starting to dry a little bit down, but there's still a lot more green in there. We have to make sure the moisture is right. The moisture is the most important thing when you're chopping corn silage. We like to see that it's about 65% moisture at least. That way it packs good, so you get all the air out of it. If you have air in there, it's gonna spoil and it's gonna rot in there. So that's why we like to make sure it's got the right moisture so we can pack it good and get all the air out so it ferments right. So we'll go over here. These are our alfalfa bales here. This is what alfalfa looks like. You see all the leaves on there on the stem. See if I can pull one out here. That's what it looks like. What we usually do is we usually grind it up, have a hay grinder come and grind it up for us in the smaller particles. That way we can mix it in with the corn silage and our corn stalks. And that way we get the right amount, so we're not giving them too much or too little. So that way it just mixes in a lot better by grinding it up. And typically these bales weigh, I usually figure they weigh around 1,500 pounds. Sometimes they're 1,600 pounds. Sometimes they're a little more than that. It just depends on what cutting it is. We usually get 4 cuttings off of the alfalfa. Usually the first and second cutting they're a little thicker stem. The stems are a little thicker, so they're a little lighter. They're usually not 1,500-1,600 pounds. And when you get to the third and fourth cutting, they're a little finer stemmed. So you can really pack the bale a little tighter, and you can really make some 1,700-1,800 pound bales in there. But when we grind and stuff, I usually figure 1,500 pound bales. So that way I'm not on the short side. So I know I have enough on there that way that I have 1,500 pounds, because I know they're all at least 1,500 pounds. Corn stalk bales here. You can just see is what we bale these corn stalks, all the residue, you know, the corn stalks that are ground up, the husks, the cobs and all that get baled up after we get done combining. We bale these up, and what this is used for basically is just for fill, just to kind of keep the cows full. The main nutrients and energy is all in your alfalfa and your corn silage. This is just kind of just to keep their gut full, so you're not overfeeding them the good stuff. You know, that stuff is more expensive than these. Corn stalk bales are cheap, so that's why we like to just put some fill into them. These bales I usually figure them weighing about 1,200 pounds, roughly in that area. So that's why I usually figure when we grind, so I know I got enough anyway. So this is what we'll come over here and take a look at. The alfalfa pile here that's ground up. You can see all the stems. You can see the finer stuff is the leaves, and the leaves are where a lot of your nutrients are at, and that's what we want to keep in there. So that's what this looks like. Okay, so here we are grinding hay. See the hay grinder back there. We pick up these bales, we throw them in the hay grinder, and it comes out in the finer pieces that we had. What it does is it shreds it pulls the hay off, and then it blows it through a couple screens in there. That's how you get it through the smaller particles, the smaller chunks of hay. And you can see it coming out the back end. So we do this, I like to do every 2 weeks, you know, so that's 14 days. So I figure out how many pounds that is for 14 days, and that's how many bales I use. Now we have what we're gonna feed them. I take a sample of the corn silage and our alfalfa to get a sample on it, like we did with the soil. You get a soil sample. With this, you get a feed sample back. So you can make your ration off of that. And ration is what they get fed, and how many pounds of feed they get, or how many pounds of each ingredient they get fed. So like on this one here, like for the cows, we figured they're 1,400 pounds out there as an average. The alfalfa out there, they get 13.69 pounds. This is per head out there, per cow. Pounds of alfalfa. The corn silage, they get 17.94 pounds each a day of corn silage. The corn stover is the corn stalks that we have there, and they get 12.71. And then the quarter pound here is mineral that they get. We get mineral in a 50-pound bag. It's got like your vitamin A, B, C, D, E, and a lot of other trace minerals in there. Just think of it as like you're taking your vitamin, a gummy vitamin every day for your kids, you know, as a kid or whatever. This is just to help with the cow out there, with they're pregnant now, and we want to have a good development of the calf in there and good milk development. So this is kind of helps aid in that, aids in that development in that area anyway. The bulls get fed too with this ration, so I just mix it all together. And right now it's about, I give them about 6,600 pounds out there between the bulls and the cows. But I can't make that all in my feed wagon at one time, so I gotta make 3 trips out there so it all fits in the feed wagon. So divide that by 3, and that's 2,200 pounds in each feed wagon that I gotta take out there each time.